David Cronenberg, thank you very much for being with us.
You have a problem with your... It's okay?
We are.
Bienvenue,
Well, Robert
Pattinson.
Pattinson, let's try and get David Cronenberg's earpiece sorted out. Welcome Sarah Gadon, Emily Hampshire, Paul Giamatti. Thank you very much all for coming in to talk to us. David, do you hear me? Do you hear me, David Cronenberg?
Merci beaucoup d'être à Cannes.
Thank you very much for coming to Cannes. How can we present such a strong film? Is this the end of an entire system that you want to recount in your film in a kind of intimate way, auto-destruction?
Well, it's unusual, you know. When we started filming, I mean, the novel was written 12 years ago. Yeah. And yet, when we were filming riots in the streets of New York against capitalism, and the Occupy Wall Street movement was happening in the newspapers that evening. You know, so it was strange that we weren't thinking we were making a movie, a prophecy, when we started to make the movie, but suddenly that was the case. And whether it's really the end of the system or not, we know that something monumental is happening, and for some reason our movie is capturing the moment. It suddenly became like a documentary instead of a fiction film. Yeah.
A documentary
with very strong artistic choices in it. Why did you go for your main lead, Robert Pattinson, for this very powerful young man, but also slightly self-destructive?
Yes. Well, I see in this man self-destructiveness and yet great power, so I thought it's typecasting, you know. I never like my actors to really act, I just want them to be themselves, but no, that's not true. No, I could see that Robert was a wonderful actor and had the charisma on screen. He's in every scene in the movie, and that's actually very unusual to have a movie where one actor is in absolutely every scene, and he is. So you need someone that people want to watch, and he was brave enough to play a character who's not really sympathetic. I need someone who is not afraid to play that kind of role, and some actors don't want to play that, and he was not afraid. Were you?
Vous aviez peur ou vous n'aviez pas peur?
Were you afraid of doing that, or were you not afraid of doing that? If you could use the microphone, please.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've heard you say that he's unsympathetic numerous times now, and I was thinking, I never saw him as unsympathetic. I was thinking, no, I mean, it was the easiest decision to make to do a job that I've ever done since I started acting. I mean, basically, if David said at any time, you know, do you want to do a film? I'm not going to tell you what the script is or the story. I would have done it anyway. So, but then when you read the script as well, it was kind of it was so perfectly balanced, and the lyricism of it seemed really fresh, and it seemed different to everything else I'd read, and it was, yeah, it was a very lucky set of coincidences.
Mais s'il n'est pas si sympathique que ça, qui est cet Eric?
Well, if this person is or is not nice, who is this person you play, Robert? Who is this character? How would you define him?
So I was talking to Paul yesterday. I was literally, I'm so bad at promoting this movie. I don't know who the guy is. I can't explain what the story is about. David's so much better. No, I mean, I think the simplest way I can think of it, I bet you have a better answer than me. But I mean, I think it's a guy who's just thinks he's born into the wrong reality. I mean, that's the only simple way of doing it. But I mean, I literally had the only time that I understood it was when you're kind of lost and bewildered, that's when it made the most sense. I don't know what that means.
Let me just say that in terms of him being unsympathetic, what I mean is that he's very rich. He is very arrogant at the beginning of the movie, and he's very, in a way, cruel to the people he works with. He's very sarcastic, very cynical. So normally in a mainstream movie that means he's not sympathetic, you know, because usually in a mainstream movie the character is pathetically sympathetic. You know, he has a dog that he's nice to and he's very sweet and so on. So by normal standards this is unsympathetic, and you often find actors who are really sensitive to that. They don't want to appear to be unsympathetic and play unsympathetic characters, so it takes some courage. Of course, he didn't realize it was unsympathetic, so he wasn't really courageous. He was just stupid, really.
Il vous aime bien. Hein.
I can see you get on very well together. Sarah Gadon, how did you assume your role? You have, did you practice a lot? Did you rehearse a lot with Robert? Did you meet ahead of the filming? Or did you talk with David? How did you approach your role? Please use the microphone.
We didn't meet or rehearse or anything until our camera tests. And I actually kind of preferred it that way because I felt like they were two people who didn't know each other and were trying to find each other, but kept speaking to each other using different languages, essentially. So I thought it was kind of important for us not to really know each other at all. And I think I accomplished that, right?
It's very important not to spend any time with you.
Yeah, yeah. and mission accomplished. So, yeah, so there was a lot of not speaking to Rob and not talking to Rob and not looking at Rob. And
Mais vous avez parlé avec David Cronenberg?
Did you talk with David Cronenberg about the role?
We had a really brief discussion about the role, and then too brief, or...
Basically, I'm very lazy, you know, and I like my actors to come to the set and just be great. And then I don't have to say anything but action and cut. And so Sarah knew this from working with me on A Dangerous Method. Rob didn't know that, but he managed anyway. And so really, you know, a good actor will have a really strong idea of what the role is. And if it's wonderful, and I think both of them came to the movie, you know, there are many ways of knowing, understanding a character. It's not always an intellectual understanding. It's usually a visceral understanding. And I think in both cases they had that, you know. And so they were both wonderful right from the beginning, I must say. Well, all three, actually. Or four.
Ouais.
Well, Paul was a bit of a problem. But, you know, with some beatings and some sensory deprivation, he became a good actor.
David Cronenberg parlait de
David Cronenberg, you've been talking about visceral approach to your character. One of the your exchange with Robert Pattinson in a very unique moment. You've just been out jogging together. How did you present your Emily Hampshire? How did you fit your character into this capitalistic world, which is serving the interests of someone such as Robert Pattinson's role?
With the mic, please.
I think it was, I mean, I know that David says he doesn't like to direct his actors and stuff, but the one piece of direction I think I remember getting was that you showed us the position and how Robert would get a prostate exam in my scene. So I just followed that direction, and I really didn't have to do anything but watch.
Vous avez regardé. Paul Giamatti, comment vous
Paul
présentez-vous?
Giamatti, you are the regulator that we really need in this capitalistic world which has gone crazy. Is that how we define your role?
Absolutely, that's right. I'm the only sane man in this movie. I'm very sympathetic in this movie, I think. I'm the only decent, kind human being in the movie in some ways. I guess I do. I am sort of representative of everybody else who's not him in the movie, which is everybody in the world. Yeah.
Et c'est comme avec les autres, David Cronenberg ne vous a pratiquement rien dit avant
did David Cronenberg say anything to you? Very much like the others, he didn't say very much. He expected you just to adapt to the role when you were on set?
Yes, I guess, as he said, he just wants his actors to be who they are in the movie. So I just came up and I just pretended to be myself in this movie. No, he didn't say much. The only thing he said to me was, "Don't read the book," actually, which was very useful, actually, for me, because I think if I had, I read it afterwards, but I think if I had, it would have actually confused me. But it was, I liked the fact that he kind of let us be lost and alone a little bit in it, you know, and find your way in it, which was great. Yeah.
C'est intéressant, travailler à Blanc.
Interesting to work like that. David Cronenberg, is this a political film? I think I read somewhere that you'd like Karl Marx to have seen your film. What do you think he would have thought about your film?
With the mic.
I think Carl would have loved the movie. He would have been surprised to see that it was in color, though, because I think he died before color came in. But yes, I mean, there is a quote within the movie. It is, a specter is haunting the world, the specter of capitalism. That's from the book, and it's in our movie. And that is a reference to Karl Marx's Communist Manifesto, which was a specter is haunting Europe, the specter of communism. And I think the book is really making, amongst other things, many other things, it's making a very definite statement about the problems, shall we say, in a gentle way, of capitalism and capitalist thought and the workings of capitalism. Because with Rob's character, you have a man who is... Money has become a strange abstraction. I mean, he's dealing with billions and billions of dollars, but he never actually touches real money. It's all abstract. He produces nothing, but he's very rich. And so these are problems we now see with the Occupy Wall Street movement and so on, that people are beginning to see that capitalism is not necessarily the solution to all the world's problems, which it has been proposed actually by some Americans, you know. There was a book called The End of History, by which it was meant capitalism has triumphed over all the other forms of government, and now we're happy because we're all happy capitalists. Well, we can see that we're not so happy.
Indeed, we're not all so happy as that, David Cronenberg, although we are delighted to see your film in Cannes here today. Thank you very much, David, Robert Pattinson, Sarah Gadon, Paul Giamatti, Emily Hampshire. Thank you so very much, all five, for coming in. Enjoy the festival. Cosmopolis is in the official...